Hello, everybody. I'm just sorting out a few things before I start, as always. This is how unrecognized dopamine. Okay. Here we are. Hello, everybody, on this Thursday afternoon in the Netherlands. But it's about 9 o'clock in Australia, where Brains Matter lives. And Mavadelo, I forgot where you were from. Maybe you're Dutch. Um, yeah, so I noticed that a lot of my Australian friends, subscribers, um, had to miss out on my Saturday night 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock live stream because it's like 4 or 5 in the morning then, and they're asleep, which I don't blame them for. So today is a national holiday in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, we have these. Oh yeah, you're from Utrecht. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's a national holiday. It's a Christian holiday. It's called Hemelvaartsdag, which means Ascension Day, where we celebrate so many days after Easter that Jesus Christ went up in heaven. And yeah, all the normal businesses in the Netherlands are closed and they have a day off. But I have a small business and I have a choice to do extra work on the Wednesday and then a lot of extra work on the Friday, or just act like it's a normal day today, which is what Samantha, my wife, and I have done. We just got up at 4 o'clock, started working at 5, and we were done at 12, which is a normal Thursday for us. But Samantha went to bed, for an afternoon nap because she got up so early. Hello, Equity. Equity from South Africa. Yeah, so I took this opportunity to do a bit of a live stream talking about the Spanish GP on a different time than the Saturday night live stream. Hey, there's Vegas. Vegas, where are you at the minute in the world? Are you back in Vegas or are you in Spain? Let me know. I'm curious. Brains Matter says, here in Australia, the only religious holidays we get are Easter and Xmas. Most of the rest of our holidays revolve around sport, funnily enough. Yeah. Australian football, where they jump each other around the neck. Yeah. I once watched a movie. I think it was called Funny People. It's with Adam Sandler. But at some point, they're in the house of Eric Bana, or it was an Australian guy, and he starts explaining how Australian football works. And he goes, this fucker just jumps this fucker. Oh, and I hate this fucker. It was so funny, that scene. You have a holiday for a horse race. Yeah, see, Australian rules football. That's what I was talking about. Ah. Whoa! You had dinner with Eric Bana. Hey, Equity, I thought you were from South Africa. Ah, see, Vegas is in Spain. Yeah, Monaco was different due to the two pit stop rule. I didn't mind all the strategies that were pulling out and George Russell just going straight and um like I didn't expect much of it anyway, as in overtakes or a lot of difference in the strategy or in the final results. So I wasn't disappointed with Monaco. But Vegas is in Spain for the Spanish GP. Very nice. So, let me see what I missed here. Yeah, I know Eric Bana was a comedian. So, all right. So, Equati, BM wants to know what part of Australia. I'm also curious because I looked it up and you have 4 different time zones, I believe. Ah, Melbourne. Melbourne. Just like Oscar Piastri. Yeah, so the Spanish GP. Um, what can I say? Um, in previous years, I saw a statistic that in the last 9 seasons, the Grand Prix has been won by 2 drivers. In 2016, it was Max when he was only 18 years old. Then in 2018, 19, 20, it was Lewis Hamilton. And then in 21, 22, 23, and 24, it was Max. And obviously, I'm hoping that Max is going to make it a 5th time. Um, also, I was scouting out a bit of merchandise, F1 merchandise, and I thought, oh, this Mercedes T-shirt isn't that expensive. And then when I got it in the house, it says Singapore 2023, and I wasn't there. But oh well, maybe if I sit like this, then nobody will see it. Um, it's a nice shirt though. I'll show you the back. See? So when I do a Mercedes video, I can wear this T-shirt. Yeah, I'm not going to spend 60 euros. This one was 24 euros. Um, right. So the Spanish GP. Um, I always love that track for some reason because it's usually a 3-stop or yeah, a 3-stopper. So it'll bring a lot of different strategies. Hello, Hank. No, it's not Saturday. I'm doing it at a different time. It's for my Australian friends and people on the other side of the world. Although I don't see many of them at the minute. No, it's not bad. But how nice of you to join as well. Um, yeah, so I like the Spanish track because there's always some action at the start. Like last year when Max and Lando were fighting and George Russell came alongside and took the lead. And I just like it when a team opts to take you know, a two stopper, or they try to do a one stop, which is unusual, but it might be. Sometimes teams try it, and then only towards only towards the end of the race you'll see if it was the right call or not. And yeah, I just love these strategies, and I love not knowing halfway through the race or towards the end of the race who's actually going to win. Hey, Proncias. Yes. And now, if this is really popular, yeah, if I get like 20, 30 people in, then I might do it more often at, say, 1 o'clock Dutch time. Um, because, yeah, I love my Aussie and Kiwi subscribers. They're always very enthusiastic in my comments, especially if I'm positive about Oscar Piastri and negative about Lando Norris. Did you guys all have time to check out the podcast I did with Tomo and Law VS? Because it hit 1,500 views, which is a lot for my podcasts. Because usually they do about 400 or 500. We need 6 more people to join. Oh, to get 20. Thank you, Equity. Oh, BM saw the whole podcast. Very good. It was amazing because I recorded that podcast on Wednesday night with Law and Tomo. Then I sent Tomo the link for him to share it, but he didn't read his messages on Twitter. And then I thought, oh, he must be busy. Next thing I know, he's the co-host at the what is it? The Talking Bull podcast with Nicola Hume. So basically, he's hired by Red Bull, and he was doing an interview in Monaco on stage with Max Verstappen. So yeah, it was kind of cool because me with my 4K subscribers, I'm sitting there doing a podcast with somebody who's involved with Red Bull, and at the start of this season, he did a thing with Liam Lawson, to create a new team, and yeah, he's such a professional. Like, whenever the attention span of Law or me just went down a little bit, he started asking questions. He's like, Wimbo, what do you think? If Williams get everything in line and they become a competitive team, do you think Max will ever go there? And I'm sitting in my podcast answering his questions. I just thought it was brilliant. I've so much to learn, especially about staying calm and stuff, because I messed up the intro because I was so nervous, which is stupid because, yeah, he's Law and Tomo are just guys as well, just like me. But yeah, I don't know. Uh-oh. Equity isn't a fan of Tomo. Okay. Well, it happens. I just see it from a professional side as well. Like, staying calm and collected, and coming across confident and asking the right questions, giving the right answers. So, yeah, I know that brains matter. No need to be nervous, just be yourself. But, this is all a learning experience. And, like, I'm 47 years old. I'll be 48 next month. And um, every time you try something completely new, you feel like a teenager again. Like, so if you do a first podcast, or you record your first video, or you do a live interview, or uh, anything that challenges yourself, you feel like a kid again. And I kind of like that feeling, so I definitely want to keep on challenging myself to do stuff. Um, that's why I put this challenge on myself, that so far only my members know about. but I'll reveal it at some point. Um, but equity, I talk about my feelings all the time as well. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Brains Matter also is also a content creator, but more on Spotify, and yeah, it's it's very scientific, so might not be everybody's cup of tea. You need to be really smart to be able to follow it. So I haven't even tried. Okay, let's talk about the race again because I keep wandering off, which is okay. Um, yeah, let's talk about the technical directive. I posted a video about it Monday night. Um, FIA said last year that they weren't going to do anything about the flexi wings. Some teams just jumped on the flexi wings as well. Red Bull didn't. And then towards the end of the season, they announced that they would um, do something with the flexibility of the wings. And then they changed the date to the ninth race, which is this race in Spain. A lot of people thought that was awkward, but apparently the FIA said that it was to give the teams time to develop a non-flexible wing. And another reason was that in Spain, a lot of teams already upgrade a lot of stuff. So, you know, it's a good time in the season to do an update on things. Hey, Lone Wolf. Glad you could make it. And I'm glad you liked the video about the technical directive. I obviously chose to go completely on the side of McLaren being hampered because I know my Max Verstappen fans, they love this. And I noticed that, I got like 2,300 views in 2 days. And then when it starts spreading to all the other fans, it stopped. So, okay, thanks, Equity. I've got that song in my head now. I'm flexy and I know it. Very good. Um, BM says, will be interesting to see if the TD makes much of a difference. I'm not sure it'll make much of an impact. But you're saying that as an Oscar Piastri fan. So what I think is McLaren's going to be the fifth fastest team from now on, and they're going to be fighting to get into the points. And the rest of the championship, it'll be Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen fighting for wins. And George Russell can have one. Oh, and Antonelli can have one. Yes? Hey, Vegas. Thank you. So the whole world will be strolled because Lance Stroll is going to win the Spanish GP. Because Adrian Newey said, just change that wing 2 clicks, and boom, fastest team. Now, did you see Adrian Newey with Aston Martin in Monaco last week? With his notebook, writing everything down. That was awesome. Um, and I just know that he's going to make a difference this season. Not a massive difference, but just like that man has so much knowledge and so much experience that if people are messing about with little curls on fucking wings and creating vortexes, he'll say, "There's no point in doing that because we tried that when I was at McLaren and it didn't work. I think you're better off looking it into this direction." And then they'll do it. and they'll see that it works, and then he'll go back to his 2026 car. Um, Vegas, did you have a chat with Adrian Newey after the historic race? Is that what you're saying? Let me see what Brains Matter says. I'm actually more impressed by Isaac in terms of the rookies. He's doing amazing things with the Minardi Toro Alpha Visa Racing Bulls something. Yeah. Um, I think it's easiest just to call them V Carb because the car's always called V Carb 1, V Carb 2. And what's Hank saying? Newey is stress testing the team now. Uh, yes. No, he's definitely working on the department. And if he says you can go somewhere else, then Papa Stroll will kick them out. Mavadelo says Max gonna win Spain to celebrate a decade of wins. Yes, that would be cool. And also, another statistic that I've seen on Twitter is that for the last 14 races, Max didn't get a penalty. Didn't get a penalty. Max didn't get a podium. Then he got a podium. Then he didn't get a podium, and then he got a podium. And then he didn't get a podium, and then he got a podium. Just so in Monaco he didn't get a podium. In Imola he won. So now in Spain he's getting a podium, and if he gets onto the podium, he's gonna win. That's really awesome, Vegas. Now, Vegas, be honest. Are you working in F1 that you're always there? Are you secretly a famous person? Because, you know, you're almost at all the races. Are you Martin Brundle? Just admit it. Anyway, where was I? So you're not famous. You're just a wealthy, successful business builder from America, and you just love going to races all over the world. Okay. I believe you. Hank says those random statistics are useless. So are you saying that Max is not going to get a penalty? Podium? I keep saying penalty. Lone Wolf, I saw that. I was so disappointed. He said something like, I think Stroll's getting a lot of flack, but he's actually better because he was always close to his teammates. But I think Stroll does have qualities, but he's also sometimes just completely not interested, and then he does the most random, stupid things, like he'll steer into a corner without looking if there's anybody there, and then they'll crash, and he'll go, "That idiot just came out of nowhere," or there was that one time when everybody was starting and stopping, and he wasn't paying attention because he was looking into the turn, and he drove into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, and then he goes, "That idiot just stopped," because it's always never his fault. And then in Brazil, it's wet, he goes off track, and then he buries himself into the gravel. Like, the gravel is there to protect cars not going into the barriers too quickly. So when that's wet and muddy, you can't drive through that. And then when he's pissed off, he starts pushing his assistant. That wasn't a good look either. Now, it's safe to say that he's a good driver, yes. As in, he could be a good WEC driver or a good rally driver or, just a decent IndyCar driver or any kind of racing. He would be okay at it. But if it wasn't for his father, yeah, he wouldn't have a seat. It's as simple as that. But yeah, so maybe that's what Newey meant, that he wasn't as bad as everybody makes him out to be, and Papa Stroll probably wanted him to say that. There's Luigi Cool. Hello, Luigi Cool. Where are you from? Or have I asked you that before? Yeah, exactly, Vegas. It was just a really bad choice. Anyway, I keep drifting off here. I've been ranting for 25 minutes already. So, the TD. Now, my theory is that because we're so far in the development of these cars already, and everything is so well thought out and balanced out and organized, that any slight difference can make or break your performance. So, if the McLaren car and the Mercedes car, who were accused last year of having the most flex in their wings, um, if they have to change their wings to be much stiffer, then that's going to affect their whole car. I mean, my common sense tells me that this will be the case, and I don't think McLaren can gradually make a wing stiffer. Like you need to have like a special spec of wing to get that done. So it's not like, oh yeah, we've already been testing with a stiffer wing already, or I don't, so the next 3 test sessions are going to be massive to see if the cars become harder to drive, if the cars become slower, if you hear the drivers complaining about not understanding what's happening with their tires and stuff. I think it'll be a reset for a lot of drivers, and I believe Red Bull won't have to do all that because yeah, they never had that much flexibility to start off with. But that's my theory anyway. Like I have a lot of faith in Rob Marshall, the big bald guy that used to work for Red Bull and works for McLaren now. Um, if if he can develop a platform as balanced as the McLaren, then he might have found a way to not make the wings matter that much, and the qualities that the MCL39 has will still be there. So yeah, it's hard to say, but I see my chat going. So um, Luigi says, "Why did you betray someone?" Okay, I'm not sure what that means. And then BM says, "I think maybe Newey was saying that publicly this year to keep the peace, but behind the scenes he wants Stroll out. That would be awesome." And he's a partner now as well. So, um, and Adrian Newey left Williams because he was pissed off that they kicked out Damon Hill because he wanted a say into who drives that car as well. And he liked Damon Hill. And Patrick Head and Frank Williams decided to get rid of Damon Hill because he wanted more money. And he didn't agree, and he went to McLaren. And there's Keith Williams from the East Coast in Australia. It's 9:25 there. Yeah, same time as where BM is. And Vegas says, "You think the TD will specifically hit McLaren?" Well, McLaren and Mercedes had the most flex last season, but maybe I'm focused too much on McLaren because I want them to get slower so Max can win. Like I'm not gonna lie about it. Um, yeah. So I I think they'll have to do the most to keep the performance they had in previous races. I keep seeing these little crowns. What does that mean? Okay. How do I get rid of that now? What the hell did I do? Okay. I see there's a community list of people who have the most messages. But please don't make it a competition and start spamming. So Proncias says more teams might use older wings because of this. Let me think about that. But like a year ago, they were allowed to use these flexi wings. So are you saying they might use wings from 2 years ago? No, I seriously doubt that. Or do you think there's people that made a flexi wing towards the end of the year and they have to bin it now? And then they use the ones before that. That's a possibility. Luigi Cool says the person said he enjoy you. This person said he enjoy you. Jason from Current and Combustion and Casual F1 fan. Okay. I don't know exactly what you mean by what you're saying now, but yeah. Slipstream Merchant. Thank you for joining. The TD will hurt Mercedes more than McLaren. Okay. Well, I'm wearing this t-shirt in respect of George Russell not getting any more points, which will make him grumpy. Mavadelo says some sort of experience thingy. I think you're talking about the chat ranking. And BM says all Max needs to do is to win to be alongside Lando at the start, and Lando will bottle it without the safety of no overtaking like in Monaco, and Max will get ahead. Yeah, well, this whole Lando is a bad starter thing hasn't happened this season yet. The only problem Lando had was that he came into a bit of a scruffle with Max in Miami, and he lost about 5 places because Max had a bit of a wobble and it made him jump and go off track. But for the rest, Lando's starts have been really good. Its qualifying has let him down a few times. Luigi Cool says, Wimbo, he's a friend of mine where he said to me in one of your old videos that he was pissed that people think Vettel was most at fault during 2017 and 2018. You guess who's my friend? I know there was one guy that was really, really annoying in my chat, and I removed him from the channel, so I can just keep on doing my live stream as I want to. And yeah, the next person who annoys me will get the same treatment because that's what I can do on my channel. Okay. Okay, Luigi Cole is no longer cool. Doei doei. Sorry, guys. It's probably the same guy with a different account. Okay, I got a little bit distracted by this because I don't like, kicking people off my channel. Vegas wants to know if there's a prize for being the best chatter here. No, I don't think so. That little crown, that's the prize. Um, Slipstream Merchant says he almost put it in the wall last weekend. Are you talking about Lando Norris? When did he put it in the wall? I know Oscar Piastri put it in the wall loads of times over the weekend. Even during the race, he nearly lost it. And Hank says McLaren fixed the start setting for Lando Norris' car. Yeah, so the bad starts was gone. Were gone. Pronzia says, sorry, I was just referring to Ferrari using an old wing. Yeah. Yeah, but who understands what Ferrari is doing anyway, you know? Um, they're the type of team that um, put slicks on in the wet and wets in the dry, you know? Oh, that's true, Slipstream Merchant. You're talking about Lando Norris. He got off the start and then locked up two wheels. And if that had happened in a different race, then he definitely would have lost positions because, according to the guys from Sky Sports, the commentators, he was driving around with a flat spot. Yeah. Equity called him Pando. Pando Porous. Guys, did you see in my last video what I called Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris? Because of the flexing that their wings used to do. I call them Oscar Piastflex and Lando Norflex. I hope it sticks. I'm going to put it on t-shirt. We are checking. Yes. So yeah, it's a good question to find out who's going to be affected the most by the TD. From what I've heard is that Ferrari hasn't much flex in their wings, so you know they're not going to get worse from this TD. It's also very hard to get worse because a lot of times they're the fourth fastest team. After all the promises they made last year to Lewis Hamilton to be a front runner and everything, I still don't understand why they changed 99% of the car. Like, if two races, two crashes Carlos Sainz hadn't happened, they would have won the constructors, and everybody would be hailing Ferrari instead of McLaren. You know. So yeah, it's it's odd what's happening to Ferrari. I think for this season they just tried too hard to make it work. Um. So what team is next? Mercedes had a lot of flexing, but they're not that competitive anyway. So, do you guys think they'll drop? You know what? I'm just gonna do a poll. That's always interesting. Poll. Who will be hit the hardest by the TD? Red Bull, McLaren. Oh. Mercedes. And Ferrari. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. BM says, my friends all call him Oscar Pastry or Pastry. I think George Ravel called him, always calls him, or is it FP1 Will? There is a content creator that I always watch that calls him pastry or pastry. Um, and BM says, so I so want to see Saints get more points than Lewis. That would be karma. That would be amazing. But so far, Saints also needs to start beating Albon. And you'd think that with every race, you know, Saints will get used to the car more, you know. But in Monaco, it was Albon again who started in front of him and finished higher. Although there was a lot of tactics involved in that. Equati is asking, will Horner leave Red Bull at some point? I think you're asking this because there was a rumor that that he might go to Ferrari, or that he was asked to go to Ferrari. No. Christian Horner has sunk his teeth into Red Bull, and no matter what happens, he will stay there. He's been with that team from the start, and he's been through a lot of highs and through a lot of lows, and hired the right people, and I don't see him working for another team, trying to build up what he built up in Red Bull again. I've been very negative about Christian Horner in the past, last year and stuff. And then I regretted that, so I made an I'm sorry Christian Horner video. Things weren't as black and white as I felt them. But yeah, that just happens because I'm a very passionate fan of Max Verstappen, and then if I see the team that he's with, that he relies on, falling apart, then yeah, somebody needs to get the blame, and I did that. But yeah, I apologize for it because, like I said, it's not as black and white. And what I see happening with Christian Horner is that he'll have that really highest rank in the Red Bull Racing, all the departments. He'll be the head of it all, and that'll work too because he's very clever. He's a very good guy. And what's happening now with Newey leaving, or with Newey leaving last year, the downside is that you're missing a brilliant mind. But the upside is that the team that is left can grow into being a brilliant mind as well. Whereas if you keep having that man, Adrian Newey there, the rest of them won't be able to grow as much, if that makes sense. The mistakes Pierre Wache is making are making him a better designer. And it's like with your kids. Sometimes you need to let them mess things up themselves so they learn. And this is what's happening. And yeah, Jonathan Wheatley left because he always wanted to be a team principal, and it wasn't going to happen at Red Bull. So he left to the Audi team, which is going to be a very great function to have as well. And the people underneath Jonathan Wheatley, they can learn how to be great professionals in their trade as well. But you have these people above you, and there's no way to promote these people, then they might leave, So I think it's kind of a natural order of things to, you lose good people, and then you replace them with people that might not be as good from the start, and then they'll grow into that position, and that takes time. So yeah, that was my Christian Horner rant. Okay, I'm just going to read out a bunch of, I was going to say tweets here, but it's comments. That's a conversation between themselves. Vegas says, Ferrari and Sir Lewis Hamilton may surprise. He just might stand on this time. He just might stand on this time. on the podium. Hank says English people are confused by the IA combination and pronounce it as AI. I don't know what this is relating to. I'm a bit confused as well now. Equity says should have asked if Red Bull will leave Horner. Sorry. No, I don't think Red Bull will fire Horner either because he's got the backing of the 51% shareholder, the Thai owners of Red Bull. So, no, he's solid. And Slipstream says, Jos. Okay. Jos said Max won't stay at Red Bull next year if they're a midfield team. Yeah, but I don't see that happening. They're going to be okay. England is a different place to visit now. Red Bull are screwed without Newey. Look what happened to McLaren and Williams. Yeah, well, they had their ups and downs, but like having Newey in your team is apparently it was very hard financially as well because he wasn't cheap, and yeah, the Red Bull owners they own two teams and they want to make that profitable as well, and you can't have that when a guy is making 33 million a year or something. And Brains Matter says, I wonder how Audi will go with their new own power unit and the new regs. No, nobody knows that, but what I'm hearing from Binotto is that the engine is behind on the others. And for him to warn us about that already, I think that's quite telling. And Hank says, Red Bull has pain from established staff leaving. The next generation has to grow. Exactly. That's exactly the point I was trying to make. Thank you, Hank. Oh. Hank was talking about the Piastri pronunciation. Yeah, well, apparently I'm always pronouncing the name Sainz wrong because it's Sainz, and I keep forgetting because I saw on YouTube how he pronounces his name. But then again, I'm a Dutch YouTuber. There are certain words that I pronounce with a Dutch accent, and yeah, it's normal, you know. Um, Most of the time, it's Dutch people complaining about my accent, you know. Um, where I think my English is quite okay. And nobody moans about what do you call him? That funny Italian man who was always at the Italian races. Oh, Davide Falsecchi. I love that man's accent. Everybody thinks it's charming when an Italian has an accent. And me as a Dutch guy having an accent that's wrong? No. 33 million would be nice. I think that's what he's making at Aston Martin now. Because, yeah, he's a shareholder as well for a couple of percent. Slipstream Merchant says, is Newey downplaying expectations at Aston? He said it will take 2-3 years before they are winning. Well, it took a couple of years before Red Bull was winning when he arrived there. So, thank you, Equity. Now, I don't know how your Dutch is, but yeah. Your Afrikaans is probably okay. Anyway, I've been ranting and ranting about everything except the race. Oh, let me see how the poll went. 12 votes. Ooh, McLaren will be hit hardest. And then Mercedes. And nobody thinks Mercedes or Red Bull will be hit. And nobody thinks Ferrari will get hit. Okay. So let's do some predictions. Who will get pole Saturday? Oh, wait. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, well. I'll just do first names. Max. Oscar. Charles. Lando. Yeah, that's interesting too. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Vegas, is Davide Falsecchi a friend of yours, or do you see him a lot at races? I love that man. I'd love to get him on a podcast. So if you're friends with him, would you ask him? Um, I don't know what that means. Brains Matter says there's an old saying about people pronouncing words differently. It means they're multilingual, and most people who complain are only monolingual, so they can't complain when they mispronounce things when they only know one language. Very good, BM. So, do you speak any other languages? Brains Matter? Since you're so smart? No, I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, let's talk about the qualifying. Um, I I don't think the new TD will change qualifying too much. So I think it's going to be decided on a couple of tenths again. You know, you'll have the top four 2 tenths removed from each other. That's awesome, Vegas. So let me know what he says about the podcast. Um, yeah. So the qualifying, I don't think the TD will make a much difference. So it'll be between Red Bull and McLaren again. And yeah, if Ferrari have sorted out their issues a little bit, and I can see Charles Leclerc popping up a little bit as well. BM says, I used to speak 4 languages by the age of 4. None were English. Now I only know 2. So I'm dumber now than I was as a kid. Okay. Well, I don't think you're dumb. Yeah, so I think Max is going to put it on pole. Um, Especially with it being one of his favorite tracks. Oh, Hank agrees with me that qualifying is unaffected by it. Yeah, and then we'll have the race. Um, you know what's also a good question? I'm just gonna ask it now. Just do away with this Apol. Mm-hmm. I was maybe a little bit too early with taking the poll away because only 6 people voted. Okay. Will Yuki turn this season around? Oh, that's not a poll. Anyway, I'll just ask it out loud. Do you guys think Yuki Tsunoda will turn the season around? Now, what I'm hoping for is that with every little upgrade, doesn't matter how small, the car gets into an easier window, right? It gets into a window where it's more balanced and easier to drive. And every time an upgrade works and it gets better, Yuki Tsunoda will get better results. And we'll probably see him finish P7 or something this race in Spain. And then as the season progresses, you'll see him getting a P6 and a P5. And then I think towards the end of the season, he'll get the hang of everything and he'll score a podium with Red Bull. That's what I think um, about Yuki Tsunoda, the second driver at Red Bull. Yeah, there's a lot of wear on the tires in Spain. That's why you see so many stops, a two stopper, sometimes a three stopper. BM says, I think Yuki will be hit and miss with points that RB21 is tricky to drive and an oversteery car doesn't seem to suit him. Would have been interesting if they put Daniel Ricciardo into that since his driving style is a pointy handling. Yeah, that's true. Hank also thinks that Yuki will battle through. Yeah, I also think he'll get there. And, with Liam Lawson scoring no points at all and Checo Perez being, well, pretty awful last season, most of the time, the bar is set very low. Like uh, Yuki can come away with scoring a P8 in Spain, and everybody says, oh, look, he scored 2 points. Well done, Yuki. Whereas if Perez scored at 2 points, he's like, he finished 30 seconds behind Max. Vegas says the Mercs will open up in the front, but George will probably like it better. Okay. That's an interesting point of view. Because George can work around that or something. I don't know. Yeah, Yuki should be fine. It's almost an hour. So, do you guys have any topics that you still want to discuss before I log out? Um, this was fun. I wonder how many people we had. Brains Matter says we're all talking about the top 4 or 5 teams. Wonder if the TD will help Sauber or Alpine, etc. That's a good question. Like, what if the Stake F1 team uh, starts knocking on the door of points as well with Nico Hulkenberg and Gabi Bortoleto? I'd like to see Gabi score at least like 1 point because that 0 that sucks. And I also want Fernando Alonso, who has 0 points, to score a bunch of points. It would be nice if he got a podium in his home race. Okay, Vegas, you're talking about the technical directive, and George doesn't like pointy cars. Yeah, he likes it more balanced. Okay. Um. Yeah, I know brains matter. It sucks that Stroll has like 14 points and Alonso none. He's the unluckiest driver in the whole world. So he says himself. Oh, definitely not. Nobody expected Stroll to outscore Fernando, but he's been so unlucky. Like technical problems, bad strategies, shitty car. Just, yeah, it doesn't end. And for some reason, teams always go down the hill when Fernando Alonso is there. Um, he's driven some of the worst cars on the grid. In the McLaren as well. The what was it? The F2 engine. He was so frustrated all the time. But yeah. I was thinking the other day, Alonso, he always jumped from team to team, yeah, hoping it would be better somewhere. And then it never was. And then I'm thinking about Max Verstappen, who says, "Oh, I'd be happy enough to spend the rest of my career at Red Bull because I like everybody here and I'm having fun here." And I'm thinking maybe that's the best way to go about it, you know. And maybe next year, he'll only get a couple of podiums and one win because they're still building up a team. I don't think that's a reason to leave, you know. And yeah, you build up one season, and the next season you might be right up there again, and that's better than jumping teams and then hoping that they'll do better, and then find out that they're gonna do worse. So I kind of appreciate Max's loyalty to Red Bull, and it. I'm very proud of Max that he doesn't get influenced by his fans and the people around him, because me as a Max fan, I shouted that he should have gone to Mercedes, and then I shouted that he should go to Aston Martin, and now I'm shouting that he should stay. So, oh yeah. Lone Wolf. Um, I did talk about it a little bit about Russell just going straight ahead. Um, what I found interesting is that Max did an illegal overtake on Lando Norris in Mexico. Yeah. And then a certain world champion, the 1996 world champion, Damon Hill, said it was a Dick Dastardly move. And yeah, he wrote a whole column about it, how, Max went over the line making that move. How dare you? How dare you overtake outside of the track with no other reason than getting in front of another driver? But now his compatriot George Russell did it, and we heard crickets. Nothing. And George did it out of frustration because he finished outside of the points anyway, and he's not into a championship fight. But Max doing something like that to defend his championship is a bad guy. Go away, Damon Hill. Okay, guys, I've been talking for an hour now, and I'm gonna go for my afternoon nap now. Um, Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I haven't got a new video lined up. I haven't got a new podcast lined up. I have ideas. I'm just gonna see what this weekend brings, and if inspiration hits me over the weekend, then I'll start writing and I'll drop a video on Monday or something. Let's see if June is going to be as good a month as May was, because as for content creation, yeah, May was a brilliant month with a podcast with Tomo, and yeah, good bit of revenue. Hey Tanvir, I'm quitting. I'm sorry. And I'll try to do an afternoon stream more often, because I can tell that some people really enjoyed it. So, see you all in the next video, and have a lovely Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Take care now. Doei doei.